Hello, my name is Guillaume and I'm speaking from the United Nations University Institute for Water, Environment and Health, and this is the module on the SDG-PSS components. I'm going to very briefly introduce you to the structure of the SDG-PSS regarding the components that are presented in the system. The first screen you see is the home page. Then you click on the button Components. You can see that we have capacity, finance, policy and institutional, gender, disaster risk reduction and resilience, and integrity. These are the components that the experience shows are policy critical. That is, when we are talking about Sustainable Development Goal 6, we really need to make achievements across all of these different components in order to make real progress against targets and indicators. For example, it's been long recognized that a lack of human resources, a lack of money, and sometimes weaknesses in governance all contribute to a lack of progress in the water sector, mainly in low and middle income countries. However, under the new Sustainable Development Goals, even high income countries are going to have some problems in realigning their policy in order to achieve SDG 6 by 2030. The critical components of SDG-PSS were identified using two main criteria. First, by its ability to encourage the creation of national enabling environments to implement SDG 6. And second, whether the component is supported by at least one tool, system, or framework, which is relevant to all SDG 6 targets and which can be or has already been adapted to an SDG context for use at the national level. Finally, we have another component called status. The status component aims to present water-related data and information to allow the assessment of each SDG 6 target and indicator. This component is expected to present the SDG-PSS as a collaboration tool, allowing different government partners to visualize all water-related datasets together, run simple scenarios, and present different aspirational outcomes. Now, we have identified these policy-critical components, and we don't want to add a burden onto countries. That is, we don't want professionals, policymakers, and researchers to have to go out and start monitoring new things and collecting new data. Instead, these components rely on existing tools, which means that all the data that is needed in the SDG-PSS has been designed to align with international tools that already exist. For example, the UNDP have a lot of indicators and methodologies and tools related to assessing capacity and building capacity strength in countries. And there are several tools like wash cost and tracking, which are already being used by countries. The SDG-PSS draws on this through a set of questionnaires, through which users can enter data for each one of these different policy-critical components. Now, this means that the SDG-PSS is quite complex in its design. And although we hope that it's user-friendly, it is not meant for one single person to be able to answer all the questions and input all the data that is needed. The SDG-PSS is a collaboration platform. For example, one agency may have a lot of data on gender and water issues, while a different agency or institution might have a lot of information around accountability. The aim of the SDG-PSS is to show strengths and weaknesses, where data is missing, gaps, and opportunities across all these components, and it aims to get people from different sectors, different agencies, and different institutions to work together towards SDG 6 success. Some of these components, indicators, and targets will take years to collect data. There may be gaps in the SDG-PSS for many years. However, we think that it is important to highlight that by using the SDG-PSS, people can aim to collect better data, to create evidence, and to work on the critical data that is missing. If you would like to know more about how to enter and create evidence in the SDG-PSS, please go to the next module. You can always use the user guidelines to learn more about how the SDG-PSS works. Or you can join the discussion forum on the eCourse website. Please share your questions and comments.